In a first for Singapore, Alexandra Hospital will be using robot technology to inspect COVID-19 patients in isolation to minimize the risk of exposure for healthcare workers.
Hi, this is Kurt Anderson from UltraMused, and today we're going to be talking about robots. But we're not going to be talking about robots like we've been seeing for the past 100 years in sci-fi. Oh no, we're going to be talking about real-life, honest-to-goodness robots that are working hard every day to keep us safe during this COVID-19 pandemic. If that sounds like an interesting idea for a video, come along. Throughout my voyages on the internet, I found all kinds of robots, some with smiling faces, some that are designed to entertain and teach the children, and lots of drones, often used for surveillance or to make announcements to the population below.
Spotting unmanned drones is slowly becoming a regular occurrence. Many are being deployed as part of coronavirus awareness campaigns.
There were plenty of robots designed for the purpose of delivering food, whether that be in the streets of major cities to deliver us our lunch, to others that were designed for deliveries in hospitals and COVID wards. And some robots actually serving dishes like a waiter in a restaurant. And of course, robots that actually prepare the food themselves, the infamous burger flipping robots. To me, these robots seem like the ones that had the highest potential to take thousands, maybe even millions of human jobs. This little guy is patrolling an office building, offering assistance, deliveries, and taking surveillance. And of course, during the pandemic, many robots expressly designed to clean and disinfect surfaces.
Say that such cleaning robots are not meant to replace cleaners but complement them instead. During a time like this where deep cleaning is especially crucial, cleaners can focus on disinfecting common surfaces like doorknobs and railings, while the robots do the main cleaning.
And now for 4 of my favorite robots helping to fight the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as one robot I just think is cool and has the potential to scale up for use even far beyond this pandemic. Let me remind you that this list is not ordered. I can't tell you which robot is better because I've never interacted with them. I can only tell you which ones I like, but maybe in the future that'll change. This is the first robot I want to tell you about. This robot wasn't designed to fight the coronavirus. These clips are pre-pandemic from 2018. I was just extremely impressed with this robot, the Alibaba Robot.He. I was unable to find information on if this restaurant is operating during the pandemic, but I would say chances are high because it almost seems like it was designed for social distancing. This is something I'd like to follow up on and find an answer for sure. I included this little guy because I think this is the kind of robot that you and I will probably most commonly encounter over the next 10 years. In the 2020s, we're going to be going to robot destination restaurants full of people taking Instagram snaps with robots. Count on it. You've heard it here first at UltraMused. First up for the actual bots fighting COVID, we have the Zorobot Robo ELF, or just ELF for short. This robot is being primarily deployed in India to hospitals that are dealing with the COVID-19 crisis. Here we see the robot entering a room to interact with some of the patients. Imagine if you were one of these patients and this little guy rolled up into your room. How would you feel? The Milagro Robo ELF is one of the best robots that I've seen working today during the pandemic. This is a fantastic way to interact with the patients in the ward without actually having to put the doctor inside of the room. This is one of my favorite robots because just look at it, look how cute it is. I think of all the robots that we're going to see here today, this is probably the most friendly and probably the cutest. So I think that this robot is actually perfect to actually put in the COVID wards because it's not like intimidating, it's not going to scare anyone. It's kind of a friendly presence inside of your room. One of the things I like about it is the way that it blinks these eyes. These eyes blink really well, and I think that's probably its best function. Actually, those eyes are actually very, very cute little LEDs that they got going on there. This is one of the more impressive robots, and it's actually reasonably priced. This robot has one of the more slick presentations on their website if you want to check it out. I gotta give a big thumbs up to the Milagrow Zorobot ELF. This is a great robot, and I hope to see it sometime here in the United States. Next up, we have one of the only American robots on this list. MIT and Ava Robotics joint project, this custom-made Ava UV Disinfecting Pot. This bot was a joint project from MIT and Ava Robotics. Ava Robotics designed the lower portion of the robot and the circular stand that it rolls on, while MIT designed the UV light disinfecting system that was attached to the top. I've actually seen a robot like this in real life, patrolling the aisles at my local Whole Foods in El Segundo. I would like to follow up and see how effective this disinfecting campaign has been for the food banks. Have you seen Pepper before? Pepper is one of the most famous robots during the past decade, likely because of its humanoid face, which seems to photograph well. Pepper was designed for many functions like a concierge, but during this pandemic, its makers at SoftBank Robotics have retrofitted it to scan people's faces to see if they're wearing a mask. If they're not, Pepper asks them to please wear a mask.
Thank you. Good morning. I think one of you is not wearing a mask. Please make sure to take a mask from the table. Thank you.
And last, but certainly not least, the Rwandan anti-epidemic robots. The UNDP Accelerator Lab partnered with Rwanda's Ministry of ICT and Innovation, as well as Zorobot, the company in Belgium that makes and markets these robots.
It's still a way of reducing the risk of being infected.
To me, this is actually my favorite robot from this list because of a lot of reasons. First, I really like how the robot is humanoid enough to be familiar, while being different enough to not set off the uncanny valley and creep us out. It looks human, but not too human. I also loved how many functions this robot can carry out. Some robots can only scan your face or take your temperature. This robot does all of that and more, like telepresence with the doctors on webcams, deliveries, entertainment, security surveillance, and a whole lot more. During my research, I found out that Zorobot is a partner of SoftBank Robotics, the people who made Pepper, so Pepper is related to this bot and maybe even shares some code. And lastly, the reason I was so impressed with this robot is because of the sheer amount of robots I saw in this clip. They already had 5 Zorobots deployed and said that that wasn't enough and they wanted to scale up. So far, this is the most humanoid robots I've ever seen deployed in one real-world location like this. Please let me know if you know of some others.
UN, we pledge our continued support, not just as UNDP, but the entire UN family. Together, we will defeat COVID-19 and help to build back a stronger and better Rwanda.
We've seen in many countries where robots are being used to support the healthcare interventions. And for us, it was a question of why not Rwanda? What is so unique about all these other countries to use robots and other advanced technologies? Why can't Rwanda do that? And so that's why we're grateful for partners like yourself, partners like the Ministry of Health and RBC, for embracing really these ideas, what is being done elsewhere, and agreeing to test and use these robots.
And that completes episode 1. What did you think? Which robot was your favorite? Do you think robots will overtake the Earth? Or more specifically, when do you think that'll happen? What other uses could you think of for bots like these? Could you or your business use one? Why didn't I include X Robot or Z Robot? Maybe there's a robot I've never even heard of. Let me know. Let's talk about robots. In the future, if this web series is successful, I'd love to get in contact with some of the medical practitioners, engineers, and roboticists you've just seen. I would love to get them on Skype or on Zoom and ask them a bunch of questions, and maybe if we're lucky, they'll even put a robot on cam. If you think this is a good idea for a web series, well, I need your help. I can't do it without your support. Consider subscribing to this channel. Maybe check out the Patreon. Until then, I'm Kurt Anderson, signing off. Stay safe, guys.